we have our one lesson on squares and square roots. And then after I teach you that, we should easily get that done today. And then until Tuesday of next week, so it's today, Monday. When's the next time I see you guys? Friday? Wednesday. Oh yeah, Wednesday. So then Wednesday we'll start reviewing with the whole class because everyone will be here on Wednesday. Okay? So, yep. So why don't you grab your stuff and take out your notebooks. So now this, fold a page, I can show you how to do it. So, because your notebooks for first marking period are done, so I just want you guys to take a page and fold it so I know where second marking period begins. So this way it'll make it easy when I'm starting to grade for second marking period.
You just wanted to
Like, yeah, just fold like that. There you go, perfect. This way I can easily just open it up and see where the second marking period starts.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Makes sense.
And you guys will need calculators for this lesson, so just make sure you guys grab the calculator. Because when you learn about squares and square roots, all calculator. Did I unfreeze it? I didn't unfreeze it, sorry. This was last class, which you guys aren't working on that, so don't worry, that was yellow group. Here we go. Okay, so this is just a review from your last lesson about greatest common factor. So we have 65 and 75. I want you to create a factor tree for both of them. And using the method Miss Fisher taught you guys, right? I want you to find your greatest common factor. Okay? That's a good marker. That was working good. Did you pull the page, honey?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, awesome. Perfect. So remember, if you can pull out a prime number right away, that's usually easiest. And if you use your divisibility rules, you should easily be able to pull out a prime number. Oh, what, honey? So that's the divisibility rule. You are correct. 5 goes into 65. I always put my prime numbers to the left-hand side. How many times? Let's see. 5 goes into 6 one time with 1 left over. 5. So if I did the 1 left over, that turns that into 15, right? So 5 goes into 15. How many times, honey? There you go. 3. That's how, I don't need a calculator. That's how I do it in my head. So now, remember, the word in the phrase gives away what you're supposed to do next. I'm asking for the greatest common, what do they have in common, factor. So I'm going to look at them both, and I see that there's a 5 on this side, okay? And I see there's a 5 on this side, okay? 13 on this side, 3 and a 5, so I can't use the 13. A 3 on this side, but no 3 on this side. I can't use the 3 because I don't have it in common. A 5 on this side, even though, yes, I have a 5 on this side, but do I have 2 5s on that side? No. So I can't use this 5. So they only have 1 5 in common. So their greatest common factor is 5. 1 5. They only have 1 5 in common. Okay, again, this is just a review from your last lesson. Okay, and today we're going to move on to square numbers and square roots. All right, fun stuff. So fun because you don't really have to like think as much because your calculator does all the work. So that's pretty fun, right? All right, so let's take a look. That's just for our cyber kiddos. So this is just basically really reminding you what, you know, I just want to exit out of this so I can enlarge it because that's sort of annoying. So this is just really reminding you what a square is. So when I say a number is squared, that means the number is multiplied by itself, okay? So for instance, if I say 3 squared, think of this number as it's saying I have, and I know that looks really weird right now. There we go. This is saying I have 2 3s. So this equals 3 times 3. And I know I said I'd never write multiplication that way, but for this I am. Just because I'm going to show you the next one too. Now for this test, I am not going to go higher than a squared exponent, but when you get into algebra 1, this is something you'll need to understand. So obviously it gets higher than squared, okay? You can have something cubed, anything. So if I write 3 to the 3rd power, again, think about what it's saying. It's saying you have 3 3s, which is really saying 3 times 3 times 3. Okay? If I had 3 to the 6th, that's really saying I have 6 3s, right? So I do 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. Okay? The problem comes when it's a really big number. So if I said 3 to the 120, we're not doing that. The calculator needs to do that. Okay? But you have to understand what this means. Okay? So this is, this is a visual representation. So if I say 2 squared, so this is saying 2 squared, right? It's considered what we also say a 2 by 2, right? So I have 2 by 2, right? So again, same thing. We have 3 and a 4, okay? 4 squared. So think about what that's saying. 4 squared is really saying you have 2 4s, right? So you're saying it's 4 times 4 equals 16. Okay, so let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And what is it again? By. We have, it's by 4 by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, by 1, 2, 3, 4. So you have 4 squared, and it equals 16. Okay. And this is saying you can do it indefinitely. I can keep going. I can say 20 squared. I can say 21 squared. I can say 30 squared. You can just keep going with it. So this is just a little terminology. It says when we list square numbers, which you might need me to erase. Okay, so it's just simply saying when we list square numbers in order, you're listing them in consecutive, writing them in consecutive square numbers. Okay, consecutive means in order. Okay, so the consecutive square numbers from 1 to 100. Okay, so this is really 1 squared equals 1. 2 squared equals 4. 3 squared equals 9. 4 squared equals 16. So they're in consecutive order. Okay, obviously if I kept going, 5, so 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 5 squared. This is 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So again, it's in order. That's what consecutive means. All right, so it's time to take out our nifty, grifty calculators. Now, if you have your own calculator, that's fine. I can come over and take a look if you can't find the different features. A calculator can, there's many different ways on a calculator square can be represented.
Square is 2. The 2, right?
So, if you see up here, this is how it's represented most times. I think it's represented that way on the calculator I bought as well. So do you have a calculator with you? So let me see. Let me grab the calculator I bought you guys and see how it's represented. Because again, all the calculators, it's represented pretty differently.
Do this more?
Yep. So it has a square button on our calculator too. Do you see it? So, yep. Yep. Perfect. So on your test next Wednesday, you could be given, and I'm actually going to pass out a worksheet that we're going to work on. Like I said, this is so super duper easy because you're just literally going to plug it right into your calculator. I'm going to need a new green binder soon for y'all. What?
Can you send me some more fractions on iReady?
That was the last fraction assignment, but I do know your teacher said we need to work on addition problems with you. So if you want to just make up some 2-digit addition problems, he said he needs to work on addition.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just any addition problem.
Yeah, just any addition
Right.
problems.
Right.
Right.
So I can get up iReady.
All right, so we're going to look at the bottom half of this worksheet first, and we're going to see if we come up with the same answers. So again, this part of your test on Wednesday is going to be super duper easy as long as you know how to utilize your calculator. Okay. So the first one is asking you, what is 11 squared? And literally on your test, that is, you're going to have questions just like this. It's going to be 11 squared equals blank. Now, obviously, I'm not going to give you the same question, but you're going to have to know how to do that. Utilizing a calculator. Okay? And what did we come up with for the first one? Ladies. Let me see. What two were you talking about? Oh, no. Squared, honey. See how it looks exactly like mine? Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, what the, yeah.
Do you even need to press the equal sign?
Nope. Yep, that's why I got you those calculators. Makes life easy for y'all. What'd you get?
121.
Perfect. Yep. I did some research before buying the scientific calculator I chose.
Smart idea.
Try to find the best, easiest one to use. All right. So the next one is 13. So I'm going to write a couple of them up there. We got 13 squared, 14 squared, and 10 squared. All right. So I'm going to do 13 squared. All right. Try those 3, and then we'll see what you guys got.
Do you erase?
No, I'm making more.
Behind you.
So this, Adrian, you're not supposed to use a calculator for.
Yeah.
Just making sure.
That should be easy.
Yeah.
Let's see it.
You just put your pencil down whenever you're ready, and I'll know we can check it. Good? Okay, 13 squared is 169. Perfect. 14 squared is?
196.
Perfect. And 10 squared is?
100.
Perfect. All right, so I think we're pretty good on this skill. We can finish the rest of the worksheet, but like on your own, like later in the class period, and then we can check back with the answers. So let's move on to the next part of this lesson. So what you're going to also, just so you know, need to do is the Canvas part of this lesson. It's called Lesson 8 Classwork, but that will be after we finish this whole lesson, okay? Okay. So now, so we learned what we just learned. A number squared is written as follows. So we have 3 squared, and what that literally means is 3 2 3s. So 3 times 3 equals 9. Okay. Now we are going to find the square root. So this is called the square root. Okay. Square root of a number. This symbol is known as a radical symbol. This is your square root. So, the square root of 9 equals 3. These are the inverse of each other. Okay? Alright? So, this is saying 2 3s will give me 9. Okay? That's what that is saying. And I'm taking the square root of 9, and that gives me 3. Now, we're going to utilize our calculators. Again, this whole lesson is calculator based. So this is another way to think of it. When you're doing a square root, it says, what if we start with the number 9 and we want to know what times itself will equal 9? So before I started you with 3 squared, right? And I said this is 2 3s. So I said this is equivalent to saying 3 times 3, and then you had to solve what is 3 times 3. So remember, I said this is the inverse. This is the opposite. So this is saying you're starting with 9, right? I'm starting you with the number 9 because 9's in here. And now I'm asking you what times itself, okay, because a square number is always a number times itself. I'm saying what times itself will equal 9. You understand that? A square number is always the number times itself. So if I had 5 squared, that means it's 5 times 5. It's a number times itself. So whenever you see a square root, you're going to look at the number inside and you're going to think to yourself, what number times itself equals that number? So if I had the square root of 25, I would think to myself, what number times itself equals 25? So I know 5 times 5 equals 25. So the square root of 25 is simply 5. Okay? Now that is the thought process behind it. That's how you can solve it without a calculator. But again, this part of your exam is to test your calculator skills. So you're literally plugging it into a calculator. Okay? So, we already did that. I don't have that part of the calculator that shows you the square on it. Okay. So hold up 1 second here. Okay. So the square root is this right here. This is your radical sign right here. So if you have the calculator I bought you,
So each of you can put 6 here and try 1, and then 1 plus 1
you would first do, pretend it was 9. We're going to go back to the one I just did. You would hit 9. That's your calculator button. Then you're going to press the square root button. Let me see if you have to press equals. 9. Nope, you don't even have to press equals. It gives you the number. So you press 9, and then you press square root, and it should shoot out 3. Does it work? Okay. So now,
Yeah.
following that, I want you to try these. Now remember what this is saying. I'm asking you, what times what equals 36, but these two whats have to be the same number.
Yeah, that's wrong.
No, but when you did this together.
Okay? So that's the logic you need to think. This is literally saying what times what gives me 36, but these two whats, they have to be the same number. That's what this is saying. But again, just use your calculator. So you remember, if they have to be the same number, could 2 work? Well, let's see. 2 times 2 equals 4. So it can't be 2. Well, we already know 3 times 3 equals 9. It can't be 3. Right? 4 times 4 equals 16. It can't be 16. So again, you're thinking what number times itself will give you 36.
Yeah.
Use my calculator like that for Carly.
Okay. So you have the square root on that one, correct, honey? Because you should with
The one that we just did. Or
the square root. You know how to do that on your calculator, honey?
no.
Okay. So hold on. I'm coming over. So you're looking for the radical sign, and it's right here. So which one is first? 36. Second. Actually, yours you have to do it first. So you're going to have to do second square root
Okay. And then
36. Enter.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, so did you guys get this number? 6, 9, and 12? So again, the thought process behind it, again, you get to use your calculator to do the work. But what this is saying 6 times 6 gives me 36. 9 times 9 gives me 81. 12 times 12 gives me 144. Okay? That's what it's saying. So now, linking the whole lesson together. So we had the first half of the lesson where we talked about squares, and now the second half lesson where we talked about square roots. Okay? And remember, we talked about consecutive squares where they're in a row. So this question says, find the next square number in the list. So 49, 64, 81. How would you find the next square number? What would you have to do? Well, you'd have to figure out what times what gave you 49. So how would you figure out what times what gave me 49? What would you use? So what's the answer? 7. Perfect. So that's saying 7. Then you'd say what times what gave you 64. But if it's saying consecutive, you know it has to be what? Consecutive means in order. So what does the next number have to be? 8. Okay. Then the next one has to be 9. So we know 9 times 9 gives me 81. So the next number would have to be 10. So to find out the next number up here, what are you doing? What'd you get?
100.
Perfect. 100. Exactly. Because all you did was square it, right? So we said 7 squared. We said 7 squared equaled 49. Right? We said 8 squared equaled 64. We said 9 squared equaled 81. And then we said 10. We knew the next one was 10, so we had to square it to figure out the next number in the sequence. That's how we figured out the next number in the sequence. Great job. Nice thinking skills. Great critical thinking skills. Perfect. All right. So why not at this point we take out our computers and try our 2 Canvas lessons. And I will figure out, so it should be 8. So it would be 8 part 1 and part 2. So let me just make sure I have that up and running for you guys and we can do them together. Okay. Oh, yep. Let me just make sure it's open.
Hopefully no one feels this quiz. This quiz seems easy. Especially
Yeah, you guys should be fine for this. Yeah, this is ready to go for y'all.
No, like this time.
Because the calculator does all the work for you for this section of it. All right, so let's take a look what we're doing. So this first question is saying, remember 25 squared. So they're saying 25 squared. Okay, so you need your calculator.
Very good.
I'm too smart for her.
Okay, so maybe you know that. And yeah.
So I did 2 digit plus a single digit.
And he's okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you do 2 digits plus 2 digits?
So try that now.
Yeah, try that.
Okay.
That's what he's talking about.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. He just told me addition that he needs to work with his addition.
Alright, now really
Okay, what do we get for the first one?
Unit 6, AP1.
A what?
Unit 6, AP1. It's called.
Oh, yes, 8P1. Yeah.
I was still loaded in there.
You're still loading it? Okay, gotcha. All right. So,
a number and then point and then there's like all these different numbers.
so we usually, does it say, what's the instructions? Does it say round?
No, for the second one.
All right, so let me see the second one, if there's any. You shouldn't get, it should be, you did 32 squared and you didn't get 1,024?
Oh, yeah, I did.
Okay,
I did the other one.
okay. Okay. How are we doing, ladies? All right, so if you're doing okay on that, let me check the next one and make sure it's ready for you to go. Yep, okay, so they're both ready to go. Yeah.
I think you can handle it.
I got the first one wrong.
Did you have the right answer?
I put 5.
What was the first
Yeah.
question? So I'm on the second one now.
The first question was the 25 squared.
I didn't even do that.
Yes, that is wrong. You should have done 25, so it would have been 25 times
Yeah.
25, and that would equal 625. Okay, so this is our second practice. Alright, so this one's the one where we gotta use a little bit of thinking. Okay, so remember, it says find the next square number. So you're thinking to yourself, how did I get 4? What number, so you're saying, what number times itself gave me 4? Okay, what number times itself gave me 4? Remember how I taught you to figure that out. So you simply take the square root of 4 and that will tell you the number. Alright? So when you take the square root of 4, you get 2. Okay, so you know this came from 2. Remember, if we're in consecutive order, that came from 3, that came from 4. So that means the next number in the series is 5. And what do you have to do to 5? To figure out what comes up here. What do you got to do to 5, you guys? Times it by 5. So I got to square my 5. So I'm going to say 5 times 5 gives me what? 25. So the next number in this series is 25. Okay? That is the thought process we're utilizing. So this, you got to think things through a little. You have to use both part 1 and part 2 of the lesson I taught you. You have to use your squares and your square roots. So again, you're thinking to yourself, what times what gave me 36? And the way you figure that out is you take the square root of 36. If you type in the square root of 36 in your calculator, you're going to find out that 6 times 6 gives me 36. Okay? So I know this is 6. Consecutive, so this is 7. This is 8. So the next one in the series is 9. What do I have to do with 9? To figure out this number up here, what do I have to do with 9? Times it by itself. So I'm going to square it. So now I say 9 times 9 equals what? 81. The next one in the series is 81. Okay. Good job, you guys.
Do you always do like 4, like below the numbers?
So I do what?
Like 4, like you did 4 numbers below.
Well, because it's asking you to find the next one in the series. So I knew this one was 6, this one's 7, this one's 8. So then I say the next one's 9, and then I got to find out up here. And don't forget, utilize your multiplication charts that you have in the notebooks I bought you. So there's a multiplication chart right in the back you guys can use to figure out what times what gives you a number. Let me know when you guys are done 3, 4, and 5 so we can check and just make sure we're on the right track.
What?
Use number 5.
Okay. Let's look. Number 5. So, how did we do the previous one? So, what's your first step? What would you do for that? What do you gotta do? You gotta figure out what times what gave you 400. And the what times what has to be the same number. So what number times itself gave you 400? How do you figure that out? What did we do for all of these to figure that out? What did we do? You gotta take this. You gotta take the square root. Okay, so now you do the same thing for 441 and 484, and then you find out the next one in the series.
I'm just gonna check with her if she needs me to cover.
Oh, yep. So what'd you get, honey?
You're done your breaking work on
I
that.
have up to 22. The numbers below.
So you had 20, 21, 22. So the next one in the series would be what? 23. So now you gotta do what? Square it.
529.
Yep. There you go. So when you're done that, I want you guys to complete your green worksheet I gave you independently, because I think at this point, you guys are okay to do that by yourselves, okay? And then we should be good to go. And so then next class I see you guys will be Wednesday, and that's when we'll start reviewing for our test. And we'll have almost a week to review. So, because then we'll start reviewing on Wednesday, and then the next Wednesday will be the test. Okay? So it'll be fun stuff.